WWE 2K has been taking the hits from the community as of late, and WWE has seemed to be going on to new business ventures. WWE and Endeavor have recently merged into one company, so now it's got the fans thinking, what if WWE is no longer going to be making games with WWE 2K? 2K has been publishing the WWE Games for a very long time now, and every year we seem to get some clapbacks from the community on whether or not they're doing a good job at making this video game. We all know that the UFC games are made by EA Sports. Well, it's been a rumor as of late whether or not EA Sports could be making the WWE games come 2025. And I got a definitive answer for you on that, so just stick around. But for right now, we're going to talk about why EA Sports could be the worst choice for making the WWE games. First of all, we all know that 2K is a yearly release, and I know the fans are not a huge fan of the yearly release because it comes with a lot of copy and paste jobs when it comes to the video game every single year. But with these copy and paste jobs, we get a lot of things taken out, we get new features put in. I know this has caused frustration, especially with me, on certain features being removed year in, year out, new things brought in, and it almost makes you think, why couldn't we just keep some of these features in to make this game full when you add the new features in? I've never understood it. I know I have some friends in the 2K dev team, but every time this question gets brought up, I don't really get a definitive answer on it. We all know EA Sports is lurking right around the corner, and we all know what EA Sports has done in the past when it comes to professional wrestling video games. Backstage assault, anyone? Not to mention the terrible jobs, and I mean terrible jobs, that they have done with the UFC franchise over the years. When UFC was published by THQ, I was all for that game. UFC 1, UFC 2, great games. But when it comes to EA Sports making a full contact sport video game, there are some tweaks that they need to look into. Not to mention it took about 3 years for UFC to release the latest UFC game, and when it comes to the video gameplay itself, there's not much difference. UFC has struggled with the fight game, making it feel authentic. We all know how UFC has done with NHL and Madden and all the other sports games out there. They are all copy and paste jobs, but what's worse about these video games when it comes to EA Sports, in some cases, they take longer to make, and they still give you less than what a 2K would have published in a wrestling game. 2K has plenty of frustrations, and I get you guys on that. I feel all the frustrations when it comes to the next installment of the video game. But there are rumors around the corner that WWE 2K24 could be the last game published by 2K Sports, which leaves 2025 up in the air if we're even going to get another wrestling game if this was the case. I personally put zero faith in an EA Sports publishing a wrestling game. Not to mention, if you guys didn't know, wrestling games are some of the hardest games on the market to produce. There's so much hit detection. There's so many things that could go wrong when it comes to these wrestling games. If it wasn't as hard to make, we'd probably see a lot of people making them. But when it comes to dev teams all around the world and other companies looking at professional wrestling games, I don't think anybody quite likes to take a crack at that. Sure, you got Virtual Basements, the wrestling code coming out, but we really haven't heard much from the wrestling code for about a year now, ever since AEW Fight Forever came out. Though I have some excitement about an independent company making a wrestling game, it should be fun, and hopefully they take their time on it and get everything dialed down in real smooth. Same with Ultra Pro Wrestling. It's been in the works for quite some time now, and we're supposed to be seeing it next year. But if we don't, I'm not mad at it because I understand what goes in to making these wrestling games. It's not an easy job. So for EA to get the publishing rights for a WWE and have WWE games on the EA brand, this could mean trouble for a lot of fans. Or not only would I personally be done with WWE games if EA Sports ever picked up the rights for these games, but everybody buying the game from EA Sports would be completely disappointed. Like I said before, I put zero faith in an EA Sports making a professional wrestling game. And I know you guys are probably thinking, oh, well, yeah, but you got friends in 2K. You're right, I do. But not all the time do I praise 2K on every job they do in the video game. There are constant times that I am tweeting at WWE Games, tweeting at 2K, or even popping in some DMs that are friends of mine saying, this needs fixed. This needs worked on next year. Hey, focus more on this. I'm throwing my ideas out there, and yours if you're in the comments. At the end of the day, I'm a fan just like you guys. I want the perfect wrestling game, but I do not want to see an EA Sports pick up the rights for this because, like I said, I have zero faith in EA Sports making any wrestling games. I know what kind of work it's going to take to go into something like a wrestling game, and I just don't think EA could pull that trigger. And not to mention, I don't want to go a couple of years without having another wrestling game. Don't get me wrong, if EA Sports was to pick it up and for some miracle they picked up the rights for WWE Games and they took about 3 to 4 years to perfect a whole brand new game, you can expect a lot of things taken out. Universe gone. My GM mode gone. Showcase gone. Any cool career mode that you had in mind, it's out the door. Would you like to see another Road to WrestleMania? Gone. You can expect the same type of menu that you see in any Madden game and any NHL game. If you're familiar with the games, any boxing game, it will be the same struggle going through some of these games. Personally, I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan of the way EA Sports does things. There are some sports games that EA Sports can pull off that I really enjoyed, like Skate and Skate 2. The Skate games are great. I even have fun playing the NHL games. I just know that when I purchase an NHL game every single year, there's really nothing different about the game except maybe a little graphics update. For the most part, EA screws up the entire game worse than a 2K would. They take out every single thing that was relevant in the game the previous year and just add stuff that makes zero sense in the following game. So when it comes to a wrestling game, I put faith in very few companies out there to produce a wrestling game that is actually worth playing. Kudos to AEW and Ukes. Ukes has been making wrestling games for many, many years. They had a very small period of time that they were able to produce a game, and this is the game we got, which is a live stream service game, and you can't really be mad at it, though the people that paid the Elite Edition of the game obviously feel a little left out of the cold when it comes to paying for a Season 2 or even a Season 3 in the upcoming months. I get it, but once again, it's not an easy job to make a wrestling game. And if you can do it, and you have the money to put in it, then go for it. The only reason I'm bringing up EA right now is because EA has been put in the rumor mill from a lot of leakers out there that think they know what they're talking about when it comes to WWE Games being produced by another studio in 2025 and 2K losing the rights. I've even heard rumors of Endeavor only wanting to work with one company when it comes down to it, so we're going to swap over from 2K to EA Sports because that's who produces the UFC games. Well, I'm here to tell you that every single rumor that you have seen on this subject is completely false. It's not happening. 2K has got the rights to the WWE games for many years to come, and if you're disappointed about that, just keep in mind what I said earlier. If 2K isn't making this game, then somebody else will, and somebody else will do a terrible job at it. I promise you we're better off with a 2K and the My Faction stuff, even though I can't stand it, than we would ever be with an EA or somebody else that has never produced a wrestling game. It is 100% false that any other company would be taking over the WWE Games. WWE Games is under contract with 2K for many years to come, and that's coming straight from the devs, straight into my DMs. So get excited for WWE 2K24 and get excited for WWE 2K25. Though we don't like the yearly releases, it's a WWE call and it's gonna be a yearly release even if it was somewhere else. So get excited for these games. There's a lot more features coming. I'm gonna let you know in the next video that I release on this channel, so make sure you subscribe. And if you want to learn about a big time player that is guaranteed to show up in WWE 2K24, check this video out right here. Have a nice night. Merry Christmas.